You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
The PRO Act, some portions of it have a chance to pass through the reconciliation infrastructure bill. So let's have a quick review. I was hoping we'd be able to dive more into it this week, but maybe we can do a deeper dive next week or subsequent weeks. So what is the PRO Act? The PRO Act is the largest piece of positive labor law reform since the National Labor Relations Act, really. I mean, it just does so much. It eliminates right to work across the country. It would mandate, which this is something that a lot of people, especially conservative talk radio hosts, purposely, I think, misunderstand. It would mandate that employers follow the law in union elections by saying that if you don't follow the law in a union election, and before the union election, more than 50% of the workforce said that they wanted a union, then if you violate the law, then the government will certify the union regardless of the vote outcome, which is important because that is actually going to give them an incentive to make sure that there is a free and fair election.
Wait, you mean companies might actually face consequences for breaking the law?
It's weird.
I thought that was just regular people that face those consequences.
And it's really weird that conservatives would be against that, but, you know.
Yeah, but it's funny how law and order just doesn't apply.
Yeah. Of course. It would also institute real consequences for firing pro-union workers. It would allow the NLRB to levy fines. It would, there's just so much. It would make legal secondary strikes where workers at one workplace in a manufacturing line want to go on a sympathy strike for other workplaces to try to put pressure on, the larger system. And so some of that sounds like, well, how's that going to pass through reconciliation? Because reconciliation is just about the federal government's budget, and things can only pass reconciliation if they affect the federal government's budget. So, some of that doesn't sound like it can pass through reconciliation, and the Communication Workers of America have a good explainer on what they think can make it through reconciliation. We're going to give that to you on the other side, and we're going to talk about Huntsville. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Put it there, boy. We'll show these fascists what a couple of hillbillies can do. Well, I'm going to tell you fascists, you may...
All power to the workers. This is the Valley Labor Report. My name is Jacob Morrison, here with my co-host and fellow agitator, Adam Keller. We've been talking about the PRO Act. The PRO Act, or parts of it, have a chance at passing through the infrastructure reconciliation bill. So, like I mentioned, this is a very broad piece of legislation, and we know that reconciliation... the only things that can pass through reconciliation are things that directly affect the federal budget. So what are the things that have a chance of passing through reconciliation in the PRO Act? The CWA has a handy budget reconciliation fact sheet. And they believe that there are 4 major provisions that can make it through budget reconciliation. The first is to restore and enhance tax deduction for union dues. Previously, union members were able to deduct taxes they were able to deduct their union dues from their taxes. But here's something that's interesting that you won't hear about. The 2017 Trump quote-unquote tax cut raised taxes for union members because it disallowed us from being able to deduct our dues from taxes. So the tax cut was that's another example of how it was really only for the corporations. The second, it would end tax deductibility of the costs of hiring permanent strike replacements. This would prevent businesses from deducting from their taxes expenses incurred in fighting workers' efforts to unionize, the hiring of strike replacements, and any other expenses used to fight the workers or their unions. And it's insane that you can deduct taxes for that, for which corporations spend millions of dollars and workers can't deduct the $40 to $70 a month that we spend in dues. I mean, just insane. 3, it would reduce the misclassification of employees as independent contractors. The current tax code allows companies to continue to misclassify workers as independent contractors even if the IRS determines they are employees. The solution is to establish tax penalties for companies that misclassify employees as independent contractors. Properly classified employees would have the right to form a union, collectively bargain, and receive benefits, which currently, as misclassified quote-unquote independent contractors, they do not have. 4th and finally, civil penalties for unfair labor practices. One of the main reasons why we need labor reform right now is that companies only receive a slap on the wrist for violating workers' rights and committing unfair labor practices. Budget reconciliation should establish financial penalties for unfair labor practices and hopefully apply those penalties to the new unfair labor practice statute created under the PRO Act, like the PRO Act's ban on captive audience meetings and permanent striker replacement. So there's your update on the PRO Act and its chances of passing through reconciliation.
Hey, you listen to conservative talk radio all week. Why don't you try something different for a change? The Majority Report with Sam Cedar is a 5-time award-winning daily left-wing political talk show. We go live every weekday at 11 a.m. Central Time on our YouTube channel. You can find it by searching for The Majority Report. We talk about the news, we take libertarian callers, we have debates, we interview guests on topics ranging from the post-Civil War Reconstruction era, child poverty, capitalism, the intellectual dark web, and more. And that's all just within the last month. If you want to hear what smart, progressive political talk that is occasionally amusing sounds like, then you need to tune in. And you're always welcome to call in if you want to hear the correct opinion on any given topic. I will give it to you. Tune in to The Majority Report at 11 a.m. Central Time on YouTube or later wherever you get your podcasts.
If you want to see what we are up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. And if you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments and release them throughout the week. We do upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, you can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We've got a website where you can buy our hats and our stickers. Our hats are almost gone, folks. We've only got 15 left. 15 hats left. If you want to get one of those, make sure you go to our website and get you one. That is thevalleylaborreport.org. They are $35. Shipping is included for a good American union-made hat. And finally, if you appreciate our work and you want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.